American Professional Society. Um, but before we get started, we do have a quick announcement we'd like to make. Um, and then we'll hand it over to Asadik to give a quick presentation for about 25 to 30 minutes. And then for the majority of the session, it would be a Q&A. And this was intentionally made this way as Sadiq really wanted to get or answer a lot of your questions as much as possible. So if you have any business questions or anything about community advocacy or mentorship, this is a time for you to ask. So first thing is our announcement. Um, so since SAPS was founded, our mission has always been larger than just events or creating professional connections. At its heart, SAPS was built around the idea that by bringing together the talent, expertise, and passion of the Sudanese professionals in the United States, we can create something far greater than any one individual of us can accomplish. And so we've been building that vision virtually. We have connected students with mentors, highlighted remarkable success stories. We created spaces for learning and dialogue, and we built relationships that span cities and states. But throughout the journey, there has always been a dream in the background, a dream to bring our community together in one room. And so this summer in Seattle, Washington, we plan to host our first in-person event. It will be the first gathering for our in organization history. So this will be more than just a conference, more than just a networking event. It'll be a celebration of of Sudanese excellence, a showcase of what our community has achieved around the world, and the platform to discuss what we can accomplish together in the future. It's an opportunity to bring together students, professionals, entrepreneurs, community leaders, and allies around the shared belief that the Sudanese diaspora has the talent, the expertise, and the potential that can make meaningful impact both here and in Sudan. So we want people to leave this event feeling inspired, connected, and optimistic. We want young people to see role models, right, that can relate to. And we want professionals to build new relationships and collaborations. We want our community to recognize that when we organize, share knowledge, support one another, and work together towards a common goal, our collective impact becomes far greater than any thing we can accomplish individually. And so, if you've ever attended any of our SAPS event, or you wish you could continue this conversation forward, if you ever wanted to meet fellow Sudanese professionals face to face, if you ever wondered how you can contribute your skills, your expertise, or resources to something larger than yourself, this event is for you. We truly believe it has the potential to become a flagship gathering for our community and an impact to step forward to building and a step forward to building a stronger institutions, stronger networks, and a stronger future for Sudanese professionals in the U.S. We really look forward to sharing more details soon. In the next few days, you can expect us to share the final location and final date for when the event is going to take place. Um, and so for me personally, as someone who's been part of SAPS for years, I can honestly say this is something many of us have talked about, imagined, and worked towards for a very long time. So seeing it finally come together is incredibly exciting, and I hope you will join us in making it a success. And so since we'll be announcing the exact location and date in the coming days, please join us in one of the social media accounts if you haven't already, as we'll be announcing soon. And so I think our guest today is a prime example of that Sudanese success, the contribution to society, and really the impact of the Sudanese diaspora globally. In this session, you will get to see an example of building and scaling successful businesses, leadership, mentorship, and creating community impact. But before I hand it over to Asadik, I really want to give my 2 cents on why mentorship and representation matter. When I personally came to this country, I landed in a state in a city where, unfortunately, there wasn't an example of success that I can derive inspiration from, or just even the belief in possibilities and what I could accomplish in the US. I'll go further to say I heard things like you're not going to be able to succeed because you'll not be able to go to school with these white folks because they have the language, they're fast, they're smart. I heard all of that. And I remember feeling like our family had made a mistake bringing us to the US, as everything started to seem impossible. Um, and so I remember started going on YouTube and literally just looking up successful Sudanese stories in the US. And that's when I saw Sadiq giving a talk as part of the Sudanese American Public Affairs Association, or SAPA. And I remember being obsessed over SAPA videos for days, right? To just draw that more inspiration and to really make it, uh, to really tell myself it's possible, you can do it. And all of a sudden, it's like a lever in my head got toggled where um, things from seemingly impossible, they became possible. And so, even though our members here today might be already professionals or have passed the point of getting that initial push or inspiration, I want you to think about what you can be for someone else. If you know something, share it. If you have walked a shorter path, show it. If you made a mistake, share it with others to learn from. And so I think Asadiq will have a lot to say about this because I know how much he believes in the power of mentorship. But back to you, Asadiq, and besides his notable success, as I said, he recognizes the power of mentorship. And I know he's given a talk here in a few days to the Jalia in Florida, and he does a lot of these things because he truly believes in it, and he believes in the power of sharing the stories and show representation. And so. I hope all of us as Sudanese, we can really have good intentions with each other and towards each other to strive together as a community. And so now I'll hand it over to Asadiq to share his presentation, and he's joining us all the way from Houston, Texas. Asadiq,
Thank
all
you,
you.
Muhammad. As they say, كفيت ووفيت. Yeah, I think you took يعني دي البرزنتيشن بتاعتي in a nutshell. AI summarized. So I appreciate the introduction. Before I jump into slides, يعني seriously, SAPA, and by the way, you have the chairman of the board in the audience today, Farid Zain from Houston. Really and truly open our eyes to helping others, and that's where it all started. Because amazingly, I went through the same story we went through years after, or decades after, when I tried to move up in the ranks where I was working. So I think really and truly collaboration, mentoring, and coaching, and organizations working together is the way to redeem what's been lost time wise. So I'm gonna share slides. Just I'm hoping the technology works. Okay. All right. Presenter mode. All right. Okay. So as I said, Muhammad, shukran lek. Yani, thank you for convincing me to do it. And by the way, this is the title you choose because I try to get out of the commitment by saying, hey, your group of professionals, okay, they know they're already motivated. They don't need my story here, but he insisted. So I figured I'd tell you the story, get people to know me better, and then hopefully just do Q&As because each one of you guys has probably different needs, investments or business wise. I usually prefer face-to-face audiences because I can do better than Zoom. I will do my best to cover all bases for you guys. Warning, I am not an expert. Okay, I'm just telling my story, sharing my story here. So progress has been made. I remember struggling when I came to the US. Same story Muhammad just told. When I moved here, there was no mentoring, there was no help. You became whoever you lived with. That's what it is. So if you live with someone that's a pizza delivery person, you became a pizza guy. Security, you became a security guy. So, but you know, slowly but surely we're making progress, and also the quality of the newcomers is way different. Yani, when we came here, we knew nothing, about anything. So we came here, but now I see kids getting here with a laptop and knowledge of using a laptop and technology and better English. So we had to come here and learn the language, then learn technology as we went through. The organizations are closing the gap. SAPA is where I started because I really had this need to tell people. It took me 20 years to achieve. Shouldn't take anyone 20 years to achieve. It should be 5 years for someone with a plan, a clear plan to do it. Um, so I am very proud of being with you guys. Thanks for the invite. It's always good to be in the presence of success. So humble beginnings, Sudan, born in Khartoum. Early education took place in Khartoum. Good life growing up. Family that didn't have much, but provided too much. To be honest, my family was a hardworking family. My mother worked 16-hour days at home, had a home business making wedding dresses. Decided, despite minimal education she decided that I have to attend very good school, so she did. Put me through it. Problem hit when I decided to go to college. Typical Sudanese family: doctor, engineer, or if you fail, you need to be a CPA or an accountant or a pharmacist. That's what they accepted back then, and I think it's still the case. They want nothing but doctors and engineers. You guys have fulfilled that dream for your parents. I fought that. The idea is I wanted to really and truly be an automotive engineer, inventing engines at an early age. My mother said, no, you're not gonna do that. You're gonna go to school for this or this or that. I said no. So I sat at home for 2 years doing nothing, and I think that kind of made them think this guy's crazy. He's just gonna sit here and waste his life. So they said, what do you have as plan B? What's your plan B? And I met him halfway, decided to pick plan B, which is being a pilot. So we made a deal. I applied for schools via mail back in the day here in the US. I got accepted in one school in Napa, California. Then also chased the dream in Ethiopia, which had the best school. It still has the best school, flight school, probably in the world. So Ethiopia was my first choice, my first pick. But when I checked the prices, Ethiopia was 55,000 sterling pounds, and the US was 17,000 back in the day. So which one do I pick? So our neighbor, nicknamed Captain Kuku, he's a pilot. He was a pilot at Sudan Airways, then retired recently from Qatar Airways. I went knocked his door. Remember, it was 4 p.m. I think I woke him up. I told him I have a question. I have these two acceptance letters from schools, one in the US, one in Ethiopia. I don't know what to do, which one to pick. He looked at me like I was crazy, and he said, go to the US. If you fail to become a pilot, you are going to at least learn English. And he shut the door. So that was the decision easy made. And then, of course, the journey to come to the US started. So all I could afford back then to bring with me was $400 and an I-20 and a big dream. The only thing bigger than my dream was my afro back then. A skinny guy with a big afro and wearing a cheap suit, getting to the US. Landed in New York like most of us did back in the day in the late 80s, 87, to be exact, July of 87.
Yeah, te sabes ولا شنو؟
Now, can you hear me, guys?
Yeah, we're gonna hear
Yeah,
you.
somebody said something. I thought I heard something. So got to the U.S., New York, went to a friend's address, ended up being six folks in one bedroom apartment. They took me in, happily opened the doors, showed me around, got me a social security number, showed me the way around, found me a job, okay, and from there started, working at a construction site doing demolition. I think that's the passion of where the passion of construction started. Then that job got done, started working in a warehouse, loading trucks, then drove a truck, got a license, drove a truck. That's when the US was easy to maneuver back then, all of that done with the student visa back then. So I gathered some money in 10 months and I said, let me go after the dream. So that's when I came to Fort Worth, Texas to start flight school. That's when reality hit. The money I gathered in New York didn't last long, so I had to find a job because obviously now I'm paying rent by myself in a one-bedroom apartment with one roommate, not like 7 paying rent back then. So that's when Domino's became available. A friend of mine, Nader Osman, got me the job as a driver in Irving, Texas. Started delivering pizzas, going to school, flying early in the morning, taking a nap, going to deliver pizzas. Um, then I went to Sudan and I started looking for work. That wasn't going to happen. You needed a good connection, good wasta. Didn't have it. Came here. Companies were not hiring kids out of school. Companies were hiring experienced Air Force and Navy pilots. So we couldn't get a job here. Went to Jamaica, found a job, but he wasn't going to pay the bills. And there was no one to send me, supplement my income. There was no way to stay there. So I came back, continued delivering pizzas. Then my boss's boss saw something in me. He said, "You are so nosy. You learned everything a manager knows and does. Why don't you join management?" So after a couple tries, he convinced me. And here's when friends did the same thing that friends did to Muhammad when he was starting. They said, "You want to be a manager in Tagana of Abyad? Look around you. The whole system is made of white managers. Plus, they don't make a lot of money. Why do you want to do this? You're going to fail miserably." So I think that pushed me to do it. And in the process, I learned something, at a younger age. You have to block detractors. If you don't block detractors, they will keep you where they're at. So I blocked those negative thoughts and negative friends and negative even family members at that time, and decided to take the risk. So I did join the program. And I realized I had a good job. And my definition of a good job is basically a job that invests in you, a job that keeps teaching you and keeps, promoting you and respecting your performance more than who you are, what your color is, and what your religion is, and all that stuff. I failed so many times, and I think that fueled my success to take more risk. But throughout my journey with Domino's, I started as assistant manager. They put me in the training program. 2 weeks later, they said, "You're ready, go." Definitely, I was nosy. I learned everything as a driver. Domino's is very proud of the fact that 90%, now 97% of its owners started as drivers. So in 2000, ran location number 1, location number 2. Location number 3 was a busy store. I took it to the limit, I think. When I took it over, it became the busiest residential pizza store on earth. That's even beating the UK and Ireland, even when you factor in the euro and $2. So we were the busiest residential store, in Domino's pizza system back in the day, averaging sales equivalent to $80,000 right now a week. So that store got the spotlights on me. 2002 became National Manager of the Year, meaning I beat all those white people that my friends were told me I couldn't be one of them. So being number 1 in that system, that means you beat every manager in the system. And that came with some rewards and some money and some, newspaper articles. And Domino's really celebrated that success. So decided to take risk again. And the same people surfaced again, the detractors. You are making $124,000 a year. You just bought a house. You just got married. You just bought a brand new BMW. Why do you want to rock the boat again? So I told them, guys, at this stage of the game, you get old, and when you get old, you can't do as 100 pounds ago and younger. So they still tried. You can't do it. Why throw away everything that you did and go take a chance? You might fail. I tried to convince them. I said, guys, risk and rizq بالعربي, risk or risk, they even sound alike. They even seem to sound alike. And also we know the higher the risk, the higher the rewards. No one was listening. So I started in Houston. And the funny story is, when I went to take class in Ann Arbor, Michigan, I was greeted by someone that scared me, but I'll tell you that story in a second. So what got me there basically is the mentoring system and the coaching that my boss and his boss were giving me. They saw something in me that I didn't know I possessed. I invested in myself. I read books. I traveled to see Domino's pizza stores that were successful in America, and I paid out of pocket. Then my boss ended up paying me back for that fee. He found out that I went to Gainesville, Florida, and other places in the U.S. to see successful managers, and that's how I came back and became Manager of the Year. I also learned that change is good. Sometimes we are stuck. We like the wolf السودان ضروب ولوف. احنا بنستك sometimes and we think what we're doing is what's going to work all the way till we die, and that's not true. Change is good. And then I learned my best lesson. Every time I went to speak or deliver a presentation somewhere else to teach people something, I came back from conventions. I came back with more knowledge than I delivered. So that's that. So when I got to Ann Arbor, Michigan, to attend my 5-day franchise class, I had made a deal in Dallas to buy a store from a guy who was getting out of the system. He was selling one store at the time. While in class, this guy shows up, athletically built African American guy, clean shaven. He steps to the door and he asks the instructor if he can borrow me by name, borrow me for a minute or two. And I'm like, oops, this is definitely the FBI looking for me, because after September 11, everyone that attended fly to school in the US was questioned, interrogated to make sure that the September 11 doesn't repeat again. No one approached me, nobody wanted to talk to me, so I thought that was my turn. They're coming here now to corner me and see who this guy is and what he's about to do. So he asked me, where are you from? I said, I'm from Texas. He said, no, originally. I said, from Sudan. He said, Sudan is in Africa, right? I said, yes. Then he said, are you a US citizen? I said, yes. Then he shook my hand and said, my friend, you have just become a brother. I said, what are you talking about? He said, we have stores that are part of a minority program, and I would like to sell you 2 stores for the price of the one you were buying. And I said, what's the catch? He said, the catch is you have to move down the road. The store I was buying was on I-45 in Dallas. The 2 stores he offered me were down the road, 4 hours down the road in Houston, Texas. It was University of Houston and Sunnyside locations. So I said, dude, I moved from Min Al Khartoum. I would move anywhere, no problem. So let's go see the stores. The story is the Black Panthers were after Domino's because a kid answered the phone and said, we don't deliver here because it's a black neighborhood. It's a dangerous neighborhood. So they were trying to get Domino's to get 10 stores to be black owned. And they came up with their own people to run the stores. The stores failed miserably. I ended up buying them one at the time. I had it from Black Panthers armed in front of the store, marching, trying to scare me, all the way till they finally became my friends, and the journey started. It was 2 stores, and I ended up growing the system, the stores now to 21 stores, and we're bargaining now for 4 to 8 more to be built in the near future. So buying those stores, I did my homework. I drove there. For the ones who are about to start, thinking about buying a business, I drove there after they showed me the stores. I parked one day in front of the store, counted every order that left the store, multiplied that by the average ticket, figured out the true sales versus what were declared in the system. And then I went and bargained and dropped the price by almost $100,000. And Domino's financed that at a zero interest rate. And I was able to triple the sales within a few weeks. We were able to pay that loan back within 3.5 years. It was 2 stores, then followed by 2 stores. It was $973,000. Three and a half years, I was able to pay them back and be free of that. Growth, had to happen. I didn't want to have more than 4 or 5 stores. My goal was to have 1 by 40. And at 40, I think I had 4, and then I had to grow because my team started growing. So I had assistant managers that were doing super good. I didn't have stores to promote them into managers, so I had to buy more stores to give them the opportunity to become pizza store managers. So I started growing, but I realized immediately, right away that builders are ripoffs. And they charge double what the cost is. So I asked a friend, he said, listen, in Texas, a GC, a general contractor, is just a project manager. You don't need a license. Whoever you hire need to have licenses. So you need to just do it yourself. So I started building my own stores, with the help of that guy. He helped me out a little bit. Then I started building houses. Then we did houses, Fareed and I. Fareed is my partner here in crime. We did some houses. We flipped some houses. So basically, doing build outs for myself. Had other franchisees ask me to build for them. Domino's Pizza blessed it, so I started building for other franchisees, then other friends and people I knew in the Houston market. So now another business was born, and we built restaurants. Is the easiest, obviously, to build for us. We build doctor offices, dentist offices, dental offices, car washes, shopping center. I just did one for myself last December, and it became a side gig that just kind of supplements the income and pays for expensive habits that I have that are all legal. I promise they're all legal. So in the process, another business was born. Real estate, and Fareed can jump in and correct me if I go wrong here. My advice to the folks on the call is to start early. A lesson I learned from a friend is, which I didn't know, he said, when your kids turn 18, you need to, as soon as they get to 16, they got to have a job. They start working. Then at the age of 18, they can buy their first property at 3%. Whatever they have in their account, plus you co-sign them, your son or daughter can buy their first property at 3%. And then they can lease it if they stay at home. But one thing that really works for youngsters is to start with a duplex, because the duplex, one side is able to cover, is capable of paying all the bills. So meaning you can live for free, rent free, and save your money so you can go ahead and buy property number two. Because when you get to property number two and on, you are paying 20 to 30% down payment. But if you're living for free, saving that rent money will get you the 20% saved fast, very fast. Okay. Advice: you always use expert. Don't go wing it. Please don't do it the Sudanese way, where we sit down and over a cup of tea we come up with laws and ordinances that we just made up ourselves, and end up giving people the wrong advice. And I've seen so many people got in trouble with the tax man, or with the local jurisdiction, health department wise, and so on and so forth. You got to understand the numbers, and obviously mentors and network and coaches plus a network are going to help you get there and understanding the numbers and move forward, and then you can repeat what you started. Of course, residential is always going to be needed, and it varies. Single family, I have a few of those. Farid does also. He's a landlord. Multifamily might require you to do make a group and do it, a collective effort to do it and do it successfully. A model didn't fruit yet was to get a group of people who are on the same page and maybe go purchase a piece of land, and was the money they have build a 6 to 8 apartment building in a very ugly lot where nobody's gonna want it, so you can buy it cheaply. Build that building, 8 apartments will be fine, 4 and 4, and the middle ones will be 2-bedroom apartments. The end caps will be 3-bedroom apartments. Fully lease it, or basically just give it to Section 8, and don't be afraid of Section 8. Section 8 is good. Whatever they damage, they'll fix it. So basically, once it's fully leased, you take those leases and go to the bank and mortgage the building, and they're going to give you 80% of the cost of building that building, and that 80% is going to be more than the 100% you spent to build it. So then you take that money and go duplicate, find another lot, and do number 2 with the money that you got out of when you mortgage the first building, leases, and repeat. Because basically commercial lease space doesn't have any value. The value is in the leases. You can build a beautiful building, but if it's not leased, it doesn't have any value. You can also do furnishing. You can do Airbnb if you want to furnish it and do it. You can do long-term leases, short-term leases, and basically that's a win-win situation for anyone trying to maneuver the real estate business, as they call it in Sudan, ahfaz malak. Commercial lease space is very good, but requires deeper pockets, but it's doable. If you do it right, you can really gather collective effort and do it. Shopping centers are awesome, but they're long term. So basically, start early. Don't wait till it's too late, and then by then it's too late to collect the harvest, get the harvest out of it. Medical office buildings also are doable. Warehouses are trending. Warehouses are all over the place, especially in Houston. Wherever you turn, there is a warehouse getting built because of all the online stores. But the best, if you decide to go that route, for the youngsters on the call, if one of you owns a business and they have different multi locations, franchising, or even you have multiple locations, try to own the building. So basically, when you get that lease signed, put clause on the lease saying that you want the first right of refusal to buy the building if it comes up for sale. Shopping centers are not a keeper. People build them, they load them up with tenants, and then they make their profits and sell them. A few here and there that keep them, long term, right? If you make them sign that agreement to be as part of the lease, the clause that say that you have the first right of refusal to buy it, at some point when it's about to be sold, you'll be offered the building. If it's too much, you can say I pass. But guess what? Those clauses stay in the lease forever. Then later on, when you have the money and they try to sell it again, you can buy it, right? This is good because when you retire, you will retire a landlord. You will basically I could sell the Domino's, and if I own the building, then obviously I'm collecting rent from Domino's Pizza or whoever is staying in that shopping center. That's how McDonald's does it. Financing your first, like I said, usually it starts with a good relationship with your banker. If you have a good relationship when you start getting into business, they will shift you to a business banker, but you can really truly get financing easily for it. And once you get number one, like I said earlier, was 3%. If you don't own a house now or an apartment, then you go to 20% and move on and duplicate. But also you can grow big with others. So if you have stashed some cash somewhere and it's sitting there, it's a big mistake because money sitting in a bank is a ship docked, and ships don't make money docking. Ships only make money when they sell. So when you close al-Madiq, Mafi group shipping companies are now not making money. Same thing applies to everything in life. So basically what you do is you gotta celebrate having barely enough to pay 6 months of expenses and a little bit of emergency funds. But if you wake up in the morning and you look at your account and celebrate the big balance, you are failing miserably. That money needs to be working. So you can grow with friends that you trust, but everything should be done, via an attorney and an agreement, and you guys can build your empire together. Ignorance is not a defense. Basically, if you do this, and like I said, you hear the wrong advice, you can really truly run out of money or even end up in trouble legally by not doing your homework. You're gonna need experts. You're gonna need an insurance expert. You're gonna need a tax expert. You're gonna need someone to help you navigate legal troubles before they even happen. So you need an attorney that you have built a relationship with, that you talk to. You don't even have to pay them or put them on a retainer, but someone that you have built that relationship that you are talking to. I remember I had a mentor from SAPA when that mentor wanted to lease 9,000 square feet of lease space downtown Philly, and she needed the lease reviewed. I gave it to my attorney, and the moment he found out that this was a SAPA member, he did not charge it for the. He said, "This is good. This is something good happening in the U.S. I'm not charging that person." Always have those relationships start early. Take them out to lunch, take them out to Starbucks and have conversations just to learn and figure out your next step before you take it. Don't do anything without a commercial broker. If you're about to lease anything, do not go by yourself. So many friends see a sign that says for lease, and they just go and call the landlord. The landlord is happy to talk to you, or their broker, because obviously you are going to save them between $72,000 to even $150,000 that they don't have to pay you. Most people don't know that if you lease space on a shopping center to build something in it, you could negotiate a TI. TI is tenant incentive. It's money that the landlord agrees to give you once you're ready for business, once you open, once you have a certificate of occupancy, and once you're ready to open for business. They are supposed to give you whatever you agree on. So for me, for a Domino's Pizza store, it's usually average about $72,000 I get from them, from the landlord. Basically, you're improving that space, lease space, and when you leave, you're gonna leave them the AC units, you're gonna leave them, plumbing that's working, you're gonna leave them a lot of stuff, a grease trap, which is, $40,000 probably. So that's why they give you. This way, when you leave that behind for the next tenant. and obviously whoever comes in doesn't get that. So most people didn't know this, and they were happy to get the good rent, but did not get the TI, which is money you need when you're starting a business, because when you're starting, you are really not, you don't have that much money and resources. Um, Never do business using your name. Never. Always create an entity. Um, um, Even let's say now, folks from this call now decided to build an apartment business by them, apartment building by themselves. Do not go do a make the deal based on your using your names. Each one of you need to have an entity, and those entities collectively can create another entity that's going to be the entity for that building. So entities provide protection, and what you need to just understand is how each entity type of entity works, so you can avoid double taxation, and so you can have the protection you need just in case something goes wrong. You don't want to go to make a wrong turn and end up in court where they're going to take everything business wise, and then they go after your wife's gold. That's going to get you. That's grounds for divorce. النسوان ديل مع الذهب ما بيلعبوا. فانت you need to make sure that you use an entity this way. They can go after the entity. As a matter of fact, then you can move your money to your personal or to your wife's account, and then you're good. But you cannot do business using your name and risk losing all. The idea. So it took me 20 years to achieve, and that's because I went through the same stuff Muhammad was talking to you in the beginning of this conversation. I didn't have anyone to show me. I lived with folks. They gave me jobs that they knew. All they did, they wanted to collect some money, make some money, and go back to Sudan in December. They didn't say which year, so they're still here for 4 years now. They're still here. They didn't leave. Some died here. So the what hit me is, if I can help people achieve their dream in 5 years, the good feeling I'm going to get from that is equal or equivalent to basically redeeming some of the years that I wasted trying to figure it out on my own. So, because time is not redeemable. Once you lose time, you can't have it back. It's gone. So I wasted about 15 years. I want to redeem those in a way that's unique. Basically, if I help youngsters achieve their dreams in 5 years, I think collectively, when all of them, whoever I mentor achieves, I will get the feeling and the satisfaction of someone who did not waste any time. That's the big idea. So we need to really and truly work together. We need to build networks of organizations. I really truly salute the effort SAPS is doing. Hopefully we can collaborate with SAPA and get things going. SAPA is coming back, by the way, after having taken a break due to COVID and due to a lot of stuff and people busy doing other stuff helping Sudan. But we are working hard to bring it back. You want to put Farid on the spot. Farid is also someone you guys need to tap for a session. Farid is an inventor. He came up with a system that helps with paying your toll all over the US. It's called Unitag. Unitag is doing very well and it's getting piloted in a couple of jurisdictions right now. But it's something that's going to really and truly change the way the toll is paid on everywhere in the U.S. versus having the stickers and having to deposit your money and let the rich get richer. You can just pay as you go, on demand. So maybe Muhammad, you need to go after this guy. He's probably going to say he's busy, but don't let him off the hook. And this is my last slide, guys. So if you have any questions, I am pleased to answer.
Thank you,
Assalamu
Sadi,
alaikum.
for sharing your story. Yes, please. If you have a question, feel free to raise your hand. You can unmute yourself and ask your question. It seems like we have a question.
Yeah, I had just one question. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Ahmed. Just wanted to ask you whatever happened with flight school. I know you had started it, but you never mentioned if you ever finished it or went back and you really pursued that dream.
Okay, Ahmed, by now you know I'm a storyteller, so it's a story. So basically, I finished my private pilot license. I started building the commercial hours, okay? And then I went to Sudan, no work, came here, no work. A friend took me to Jamaica, hooked me up with a job to deliver mail in a small plane. The job didn't pay enough for me to sustain myself. So came back to the US and ignored it completely. I want to say about in 2018, I think, or 20, maybe before that, I was at a board meeting. The board of Domino's Pizza invited 6 franchisees from the system to speak and share what's happening in the market. While we were waiting for the meeting to start, had 2 franchisees. The guy that owns Australia, New Zealand, Holland, France. Guy had about 2,800 stores sitting to my left, and next to him, my very good friend Jason Shiflett from Memphis. And he asked me, "What do you do for fun?" And it hit me as if it was calculus or something very complicated. I didn't know how to answer it. And he said, "You still have your license?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Why don't you just go back to flying? That's a good way to kill time and have fun." So I came back from that trip. I went to an airport not too far from my house, and I met this guy. And I said, "Hey, listen, I want to learn how to fly." And he looked at me, and the look in his eye told all. This guy is in his mid to late 40s back then, and what is he trying to do? So he said, "Okay, I'll teach you." So he started going over ground school, and then we got on a plane. And amazingly, as soon as I sat on that seat, it came back, right? It was a more powerful plane than what I learned on back in the day. But it came to me very quickly. So he asked me, "You sure this is your first flight?" I told him, "Yes, it's my first flight." Day 1, day 2, day 3, he asked me like, "Man, I am really not sure if this is just your first experience because you're ready to go solo." And I never had any student that was ready to go solo in 3 days. So anyway, go take the test, the written test. Here's the book to study, and then come back, and then we can set you up for a check ride. We'll have you build some hours and set you free. I said, "Listen, this is my license. I had a license. I got it in 1992. But if I had told you I had a license, you would have taken some shortcuts. And I don't want to kill myself. I wanted to know the new regulations and changes that took place. So I told you that just for you to not take shortcuts." And he was happy to, because he felt like this guy knew what he was doing. So he said, "Let's go back to that plane." He put me in the plane again by myself, took off and landed like 4 times, and then he signed me off to fly solo. Then I want to purchase, when I said earlier, I have expensive habits. A diesel engine 172 that's capable of flying 8 hours nonstop. It's a small plane, 4-seater. So if you're ever in the Houston area, I can take you flying. Sound like you have some interest in flying planes. But I do it to relax. My wife thinks I'm crazy. She will never get in that plane with me. Even if we're going to Dallas, she'll drive 4 hours. I'll fly myself an hour there. I'm there an hour and 40 minutes. She said, "None of my kids can go kill yourself by yourself." But it's an amazing experience. Now that I do it for fun, not under pressure. Love doing it. I abandoned it for the last 6-7 months. I haven't been flying, been very busy. But that's the story of. And then I went and got my same guy that got me back behind the controls, helped me get my IFR rating so I can fly in bad weather and at night. So now I am flying night and bad weather. Good question.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I started flight school as well and put it on pause for a little bit, but inshallah, if I'm ever in Houston, I'd love to go on a flight with you.
Anytime.
Inshallah.
All right.
What a great offer. Can I join?
Yeah.
Arif, I think you're up next.
Man, I want to take the offer, man, but I don't know if you can fit 3 people on that.
We'll just take less fuel and we'll take the 4 people. No worries.
All right. صادق السلام عليكم. I met you for the first time في واحد من البرامج حقت سافا. I attended a few actually, one in DC and one in Iowa. Really great to hear that Sapa's coming back.
Thank you.
Yeah. Looking forward to it. أنا اسمي عارف. I'm based in the Bay Area. And my question for you, you mentioned how you pivoted from like driving to doing management to then owning your own store كده. And you've gone through like a structured program in the process. Did you feel like that has covered everything that you needed? ولا في حاجات كده during the process that you wish you had known that would, when you mentor people right now, like on how to start a business ولا كده, you feel like going through a process or like a structure helps? And then yeah, back again. Like, did you face any unknowns during the process that has hindered you? I know you said cut off the negative people.
Yeah.
Like in going through the process itself, what was it like?
طيب, I'll start from the end of it. So basically, I remember coming to Houston, finding a hotel room to stay until I do the closing the next morning and يعني, take over the stores. It's a long process, so I couldn't sleep. I was in a hotel room downtown Houston, and I could not sleep. I was very nervous because I came from a franchise in Dallas that was, to me, the most successful franchises that you can ever think of. Very organized, very people oriented, very team, family oriented. So I came with, I had a lot of support. I had people at the office that could do whatever for you, right? But when you buy your first store, you don't have those support systems anymore. You're going to be the HR person, you're going to be the safety and security, you're going to be everything, right? So I couldn't sleep. I was like, could I do this? Did I make a mistake? And then those detractors, the negative people, started like showing like in dreams. You can't do this, right? But believe it or not, Arif, when I went to closing at the attorney's office, Sylvester Turner, Farid, the late Sylvester Turner, who used to be Houston's mayor, in his office, law office, I signed the papers. I got the keys to 2 stores. I went to open the first one. The moment I stuck the key in the lock, it made the same sound it was making in Dallas back there. Same lock, same system. Click. And that's when I went back to normal. This is just what I do best. So the Domino system. So let's say Arif عنده $20 million right now. You go to Domino's and say, hey, I want a franchise. They're going to say, no, you can't do it, right? You have to, come through the ranks. So most people start as drivers or started in the stores, assistant managers that went up. It's a solid system. That's why it's #1 in the world right now. We are really flying high where our competition for sale. I don't know if you guys know Pizza Hut and Papa John's are for sale. They were trying to sell them. Nobody wants to buy them, right? But this system is built on people. It's built on investing in people and rewarding people. So like I said earlier, manager of the year came through the ranks. This guy back then from Sudan who was not white, Muslim, and to beat all these white folks in the system and others, rewarded and celebrated. Then in 2012, I was Franny winner. Franny of them is like the Grammy for Domino's. So they celebrated us in London. We were presented with that. A few weeks ago, I was in Las Vegas and we celebrated 65 years, right? And to my shocking, they had a book for to celebrate 65 years. I haven't read the rest of it yet, but I don't know if the camera can show this. Top left, Tom Monahan, the founder, right below him, the story of this immigrant, me. They had my story in the book. Kid that came from Sudan to go to school, become a pilot. The story I told you guys, basically that company is. So the moral of the story is the obstacles I had through the ranks were all self-inflicted wounds, things that I did wrong. But that's what I now share with you for you not to make the mistakes. Honestly, it was rocky in the beginning for me to just learn. I remember being the guy that was negative, which is, by the way, I think it's a Sudanese thing. You tell us a long story about something good, we find one bad thing and say, hey man, but الحاجة دي ما كويسة. اوكي اشتريت عربية جديدة اللي ما اعرف كده بس تقوم تقول لكن دي قالوا بتاكل ما اعرف شنو كده. دي حالتنا. فانا كنت I was that guy in meetings until one day my boss's boss pulled me to his office and said, you are pointing problems, but if you don't have a solution, you are part of the problem. And that I drove home mad at this guy, but as I settled, a little bit, I learned that, hey, dude, this is reality. So I changed the way I did things. I changed the fact that I tried this and failed. If Muhammad asked me to try it, I'll say, Muhammad, try it, because just because I failed at it, this is why I failed probably, so you can take it from there and develop it. But the stories are numerous. But honestly, my success is fueled by the failures, because I heard this from Salih Al-Ata. Salih said, failure is success is tuition for success, and it stuck with me for years. Failure is tuition for success. So learn from failures, and failure is temporary. You need to understand failure. Failure is temporary, okay? You learn from it, but if you fail to realize it's temporary and you're going to learn from it, then becomes permanent failure. Become permanent, that's a problem. Hopefully I covered it.
Yeah, you covered it greatly. Thank you so much, Sadiq.
Thank you.
الخنساء.
Salam alaikum.
Alaikum
عليكم
salam.
السلام.
How are you guys? How's everyone doing?
Good,
Great.
alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. I have a question regarding real estate investment. I recently I bought a multi family home, but one of them I'm using at my as my residency.
Okay.
So my question is, my mortgage officer, she told me before I purchased the place, she said I must live in one of the units. So my question is, for buying a like say 2-family home. I'm in New York City, so we have 2-family home, 3-family homes. So if I want to buy a property as an investment, but I don't want to live in the property, is the process different? Like if I tell my mortgage officer I don't want to live in there, I just want to rent it, is the process different, or anything you can advise me to do before I get into it?
Okay. In Texas, I don't know about New York, and Farid can chime in. In Texas, property number 2 is going to be 20 to 30% down payment. That's the only difference. They're not going to ask you to live in it, even if it's your first. Commercial, and this is just an example, if you're going to occupy, for example, you build a shopping center, 6,000 square feet. If you're going to occupy 3,000 square feet or more, it makes approval for a loan very easy. I think once you get the loan approved, you don't have to live there. I don't think you have to live there right now, because no one is going to come and check. But usually it makes the approval process easier for the loan officer to get you the loan. I don't think it's because and if you move out now, you're gonna get in trouble. No, it makes it easy for them to approve it, because I think multi might be regarded as commercial. Okay, but moving to the next and second and on here in Texas, it is 20% to 30% based on income to debt ratio, and also on credit. So you can buy several. I just did one recently. All I had to come up with is 20%. No one is going to ask me to live there or none of that. So I think that was just to get you approved easily. And Farid, if you're on the call, can you chime in?
Yeah, you got it, Sadiq. The only thing I would add is that the second property is going to be an investment property, and so the type of loan is going to be a different loan type than the first one that you got for your residence, even though you're leasing part of it. So, but as Sadiq said, it will be treated differently. It will have a different interest rate because it's an investment property.
Okay.
Yeah, but the good news,
yeah.
أخت خنساء, the good news is الانكم الجايكي من the renters is going to be يعني supplementing your income. So basically يعني الإجارة بتجيبيه من الناس ديل بيساعدك في إنك أنت to make getting another loan easier, despite the higher interest, maybe because it's an investment loan, but it's going to make getting approved easier. لأن the income low, if you're fully leased, it's going to make it easy for you to get the benefit of getting approved faster.
But I need to document the income I'm getting from the other units, right?
Yes.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah, by the way,
Okay,
Alfonso, happy to talk to you offline.
Yeah.
Sadiq and I happy to talk to you afterwards. Reach out to us. We'll be happy to.
Yes,
help.
definitely. I'm gonna do it. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Al-Khansa, for the question. Thank you, Sadiq and Farid, for answering the question. Next up is iPhone.
Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh.
Salam wa
Well, my question actually, I was going to ask about the question, which I believe probably you actually answered, is with regards to how you can actually avoid the riba, the interest. And even if maybe there's in a case where you cannot actually avoid that, is there any specific bank which you could probably advise us to actually work with, especially in Texas and Dallas, that probably can accommodate that when it comes to the real estate part?
طيب this is طبعا the thorny subject of دين. الشيوخ اختلفوا طبعا، انت عارف القصه بتاعت في فتوى كده وفي فتوى كده كويس. دي البنوك حتى مثلا ديفان بانك وفي كم واحد كويس. يعني انا don't wanna really influence او اخش في الحته دي، بحكون حذر كده في الاجابه. مثلا ديفان بانك is يعني Jewish owned. Divan Bank gets القروش بيجيبوها from the same source the other banks get the money from. The reason it's more expensive to get halal or halal lending is because the money comes from the same sources, and then all they're doing, they write the agreement to make it halal to you, and then they go charge you more because obviously they're paying the same other banks are paying, but they charge you more. That's why if you look at two loans, الحلال as they call it والثانية البنوك العادية، بتلقى البنوك الربوية مثلا دفعتها أقل. That's a flag that need to be looked into. اوكي ليه انا لما اجيبها بالحلال بتكون اغلى كويس؟ ليه اللحمه لما تكون مختومه حلال او المحل كاتب حلال اللحمه بتكون اغلى لما تكون من كروجر ومن غيره جاي من استراليا بتكون ارخص مثلا كويس؟ فما قدرنا نخش هناك، لكن do your homework كويس. انا افتكر انا I talk to people because we try to help a friend get approved through Divan, and when we pressure them basically we found out the money was coming from the same place, and then they just do the contract with you differently to satisfy الحاجة الدينية. يعني انت think about it this way, go get a lamb وتضربه طلقة وتقوم تعلقه وتكتب عليه حلال، انا بشتري منك وبيفهمينه يا اخي ما خلاص الزول ده هو شال السيارة. ف this is my two cents of this. يعني انا ما اقدر اقول لك امشي شيل وربنا يحاسبني ولا ما تشيل ولا غيره. انا I do everything يعني زي ما ذكرت في الكلام قبل انه for my business Damos financed the other one because Damos was in trouble, so I went يعني debt free. بعدين I was blessed انه في شغل البيتزا I was able to build out of pocket كويس. لكن buying a home I finance them. Buying a phone I just a home I go finance them. You rent it, you take القروش من الرنتر you pay البنك كويس، لانه في كذا فتوى حايمه كده وكده. ف لكن حلك الوحيد انك to save the money and you start your first property out of pocket, او get friends who think alike. يعني شايفين انه مثلا احنا حتى انا قلت لك ناس ديفان ذاتهم في منا تقول مثلا انت you save $100,000 و find 5-6 friends same amount of money and then خد القروش مع بعض وتبدو. The process will be very slow, لكن at the end you're sleeping well at night if you feel like كلهم الجماعه دي حلال على غير حلال كله مضروب. ف this is my two cents.
Oh, jazakallah so much for that actually.
تسلم حبيبي.
Okay, thank you for the question, Amna.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for that really inspirational story. I have kind of two-part question, kind of centering around leadership. So can you talk a little bit about how, as you kind of acquired more stores and had more people that were working under you that you were managing, how did your leadership style kind of evolve over the years? And then the second part of that question is, what do you think, in your opinion, kind of separates a good manager or a good leader from one who's really impressionable and really makes a difference with his staff?
Okay, so very, very good question. So when I left the franchise I used to work for in Dallas, I was a very good manager, right? Lakin I was never exposed to to be the supervisor, right? So I started. Domino's approved me. This was the first case in Domino's history. They let me start with 2 stores, and the reason was they were in trouble. Number one was the lawsuit and the Black Panthers, and number two, because the store I ran was so busy, it was like 4 or 5 stores in one. So it allowed me to start with 2. So immediately I hit the ground running 2 stores, and I never supervised before. I had the chance to cover for my supervisor when he left on vacation on PTO, but it wasn't like 100% do this all the time. I know how to do the paperwork. I know how to put out fires and stuff like that. So here is where my mentor, Mr. Perry Zelensky, the guy that I used to work for, who owned the company in Dallas, he was available 24/7. I'll call him. If I don't call him, he'll call me, check on me. Hey, how is this going? He was able to look at my numbers and tell me, hey, numbers are good. What are you doing? And no, fix this. Or the first time I got sued, because when you have a business, you get a lawsuit every so month. The first time I got sued, I thought this was the end of life. I called him, I was like, hey, calm down. Did you know that when you worked, with us, we had like this many suits every month, and you just didn't know about it. Now it's your turn to take care of that. This is how it works. So mentors and coaches along the way, the same people I worked for, did that for me, filled in the blanks. So until I got to a point where I was able to fend for myself. But guess what? Up to now, I call them for advice. And one remaining mentor, friend, really, Jason Shiflett is the most successful franchisee ever. I regard him as a brother, really. That guy is awesome. Younger than me, 10 years younger than me, but super successful. He called me last week. He's like, hey, I had this lady apply to work, and she's wearing hijab. Is this real, or is she just having a bad hair day? So I explained to him. And I explained to him how to avoid, getting in trouble and getting sued for that. So that's what helped me get the letting go and moving up. The other part of this is, as you grow stores, you can't be in every store every day. Okay, so I had to hire supervisors. So now we have 4 supervisors, soon to be 5. Each one is running 5 stores, and I have a trainer, right? And I'm gonna hire. So basically now I don't even go to the stores much. I have those guys covering the stores, but I meet with them every Monday. We talk about the good and the bad and the ugly from last week, and then we build a schedule for them to go finish from Tuesday on. We put the plan for the current week on a Monday. So tomorrow will be a review on last week, which is this week. And then we're gonna put a plan for next week. So the hardest part, Amna, is to let go, because you were like in these stores like twice a day. Now it's a bigger company. Now you have to learn how to let go. If you fail to let go, you are going to have to sell those stores. You're gonna collapse, right? I visit stores now to give hugs and high fives and to put out a big fire, construction-wise, or issue if somebody had a problem, somebody lost someone. So that's my job. I never go now and say, this is bad, fix it. This is good. If it's good, I'll say good job. But if it's bad, I might snap a picture without them knowing and tell their boss to go fix it. Now, the second part of your answer, leadership is an attitude. Management is a position, okay? So you will never catch me say, this person worked for me. I will always say, this person works with me, right? It has to be open door policy. Your people have to know the person signing their check. So you have to throw events, picnics. I have 427 employees right now. They all know my face. So right now I go visit stores sometimes just to deliver. If it's the time we deliver birthday cakes, I go with the supervisor or the trainer to do it. It's someone that cares about you without really and truly getting into the details of your life, right? You gotta be very, very, as a branch manager, I knew my employees. And by the way, that was the only store in history that had 65 employees as a Domino's Pizza store. I knew everyone. I knew their families. I knew their problems. I helped them tweak schedules so they can attend to their family. In the process, they were willing to take a bullet for me. So it's basically being very close to them without losing the ability to becoming their boss. Okay, a good leader is always going to be leading from the front. A good leader is always going to take care of his or her people. A good leader is always ready to replace him, has the replacement ready. If you are going to be promoted, your replacement needs to be ready. The misconception is, hey, if I get number 2 to be ready, I might lose my job. That means you lack confidence. But a good leader is always going to be, it's the attitude. It's leadership is an attitude, management is a position. And you have to have, take from here and here to be able to be a successful leader.
Great. Thank you so much for the answer.
Thanks, Amna.
still with us. Mohammed, I think you're up next.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, Muhammad.
It's been a good talk that I enjoyed listening to this. So thank you for sharing your story. I want to share something. So I'm a recent graduate and very early in my career. I'm approaching about a year soon, inshallah. But I had a question regarding your just kind of like, how you went from like a single dream to managing over 20 domino locations, then real estate and a construction company. How did you like manage and I guess approach time management as you scaled up your businesses? And how do you build systems so that the businesses can run successfully without like you requiring to be present 24/7? And I have
Muhammad, I'm
another
going to tell
question
you,
following up to that too.
I'm going to tell you a secret. I hope my wife doesn't find this presentation. I can call myself semi-retired, right? So when you build a team, a good team, basically you're not supposed to micromanage. So basically, like I said, the pizza site has 4 supervisors, soon to be 5. And I'm promoting from within. This way I have homegrown heroes running the company, other than getting people experience from other companies, from other dominoes. It doesn't work. They have to be homegrown. Someone who started with us and moving up. They care about the company more than me. So I have the supervisors. I have a trainer who floats around and does training sessions. I teach the classes. So basically, I work Monday and Wednesday. Monday and Wednesday, I work full-time dominoes. And that's it. The rest is just checking on numbers on my phone and calling people, answering calls. And if there's an event that requires me to attend, I'll attend. But Domino's is Monday. I start the day with at 11. I teach a class at 11. We have 8 business classes that I teach at the office. I always, every Domino's now is doing it virtually. I don't believe in that. I am a face-to-face, because when they come to the office, the assistant managers who are soon going to be branch managers, you get to know them. You get to know who's gonna be a success, who's not gonna really make it, and who's got a limitation that's not gonna move up. So I teach a class 11 to 1. Then I feed my crew. We eat lunch, me and the supervisors and the trainer. Then we review last week, and then we make a schedule for them to cover the current week. Tuesday is my construction day. If I have any projects, I am doing them. If not, I'm home till 1 p.m. or whatever. Then I leave the house. I'll find something to do, or I end up at the office, go over emails, blah, blah, blah. Something I learned from a friend: don't work from home, because then the family feels like you're not paying them attention. Wednesday, I go teach class, and after class, I have nothing, so I attend to my emails. I average 59 a day, so I go over them, answer emails. And if I have anything for the community, that's a good day to do it, because Monday was booked. Tuesday night, I can do that. Wednesday, I can do that. Thursday, if I have construction projects, is the time to go visit. And from my desk, I can order materials for my subcontractors or whatever. Comes Friday, I'm kind of free. Just hang out with the family. I go pray Jum'ah, and from there I go to the office. So that's in a nutshell. That's my schedule. Saturday, I go to the office on Saturday for 2 hours or whatever in the evening. Spend time with the family, and then Sunday is my chill out day. Just basically my boring day, sitting facing TV or fixing light bulbs at the house or whatever. One thing I developed is I have a good group of friends that I hang out with almost every day after work for 2-3 hours, because I learned you don't want to take work problems to the house, and you don't want to take the problems from home to work. So I debrief. We eat صحن فول مكرر، ناكل الفول بتاعنا، كوبايتين شاي، وبمشي البيت بعد ذاك. فبعد ذاك يعني we're night owls, me and the wife. Of course احنا شغالين بالسيستم بتاع overseas, checking on the family or whatever. And that's my life in a nutshell. So basically, you have to really, sometimes I'm in a crunch for time because I overbid and took more than I can handle projects wise, but I pay the price of that sometimes and have 6-7 projects at the same time. But the construction side is not intended to be, I wanna print money from it. No, it's just supplemental income. Building, I do like maybe 8-9 projects, 10 projects a year, not too much. But by the way, it's very good money. Rentals are easy. You post them and The furnished will get leased to a certain crowd, three or more months of lease. I have a couple tenants, but that's easy. That doesn't require much time. If they have something break, you call the handyman, they go fix it. So don't let that scare you. But if you sound like you're very young, Muhammad, start early. Don't let hard work opportunity scare you because it looks like it's hard work, and make you back off from that.
Good answer, and I appreciate that. And I'm also like not scared of failure because like the quote that you mentioned earlier resonates with me, where you said failure is a tuition to success. Um, that's very insightful. And my backup question to that was just kind of regarding also like scaling and also just kind of initially starting your business. How do you know you're ready to take the leap to your first property or your first business buying out? What what was an indicator for you?
I heard this from the CEO of Domino's Pizza years ago. He said, if you're up to 70% convinced and you don't make a move, this is obviously analysis paralysis. Okay, so if I'm 70% convinced, I'm ready to go. Right? What's good now is you have mentors and we also willing to be coaches if need be. Right? So we'll help guide you. And this being part of SAPS is investing in yourself actually, because now you have me, you have Farid as far as real estate, and by the way, a lot of times I don't have the answer, but I will get it for you from my network. I have people that I know. I can call my attorney; he'll give me the answer. I can call my CPA. I can call my broker. Right. So now all you have to do is make sure where your money is going. Okay, every penny of it. Make sure that you have saved some money for expenses for 6 months, and you have an emergency fund sitting aside. Once you have that, start racking up money. You should be saving anywhere between 10 to 20% of your income while doing homework on what you plan to do in the future. But don't shy from unleashing the power of people. Unleash the power of people. Reach out to me. I can connect you with other people. Reach out to Farid and folks on this call, because honestly, the other communities that are beating us, they're successful because they work as a collective. It's a collective effort, basically. That's why they're beating us. And you hear me throughout the deal. I say collective is because honestly, it's what's going to create that good shortcut versus you having to reinvent the wheel.
All right, beautiful. Muhammad, do you have any follow-ups? Okay.
No, that's it from
Communities
me. Thank you.
upwards. Okay, thank you.
Muhammad, I wasn't reading the chat. I think there's some questions there. If you want to read them for me, I can answer them also.
Yeah, I think we try to answer these questions as part of I think some of them we already read out. Like in communities upwards, you're next, and then I'll check the chat to see if you have any questions. Okay, we'll go to Sayed and then we can come back.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thank you for this insightful session. I don't know, I have about 3 questions, and I also want to keep the answers very short. My first question would be, and I know you said you have some expensive hobbies, so just kind of break the ice. And I think we would want to know what are some of your hobbies. Question number 2, you did talk about the importance of having a mentor, whether in your personal life or in your professional life. So what are some ways for people to find those mentors? And should they actually look at people at work to mentor them? Should they look at people outside of work to mentor them? And then question number 3, and sorry if I'm not questions like in. Question number 3, are there any other business ventures that you're thinking about expanding to right now, besides like real estate and besides like abdominals? Thank you.
طيب, the hobbies, like I said earlier, they're all legal. Nothing illegal here. ما في bad habits. ما في cocaine use هنا. The owning a plane is expensive. If you want to own a nice, good plane, يعني حاجة that's not gonna fall out of the sky unless you do something stupid, is expensive. يعني if you inspected a car inspection, بندفع $78 to الregistration والcar car inspection. Average is $200 to get the annual inspection on that. So plus fuel in it, plus store it, and plus other expenses that comes with that. That was one of them. I enjoy travel. If I travel for business, I'll add up a couple of days so I can have fun and meet friends and long time friends. So I do travel a lot. So that's expensive sometimes. Other than that, that's it. Nothing is scary, I say. بالنسبة how to find mentors, it depends on what you want to do, okay? But you are in the right place. يعني you're part of SAPS, and hopefully when we start our annual conventions for SAPA, you guys join us. You will meet a lot of folks in the medical field, in the engineering field, real estate field. You meet a lot of people, but the good way to do it is decide what you're about to do, and then try to find someone that fits. So from SAPS, from SAPA, there's other organizations that also have mentoring around. By the way, wherever you work, the American crowd also is happy to help you. Amazingly, we sometimes shy away from our coworkers or neighbors who are not Sudanese, but don't limit the pool of mentors just within the Sudanese community. Tap into coworkers and other people. And by the way, one of my mentors when I started building houses is a guy by the name of Avi Ron. Avi owns, last time I checked his deal, his biography, he owned 660,000 square feet of office rental space in Houston, plus houses, but plus he develops nice mid-rises, apartments and stuff. So my banker said, I told him I want to start building houses. He said, talk to Avi. I said, but this guy is a billionaire, man. He's not gonna talk to me. He's like, no, just call him. So I didn't want to call the guy. I emailed him. He said, Saturday at your University of Houston at 4 p.m. I'll meet you to show you around. So he met me, got me in his car. Him and his son showed me around. Avi, by the way, is my landlord in 4 of my Domino's pizza stores. Showed me around that he does houses and he does apartments. Showed me everything I needed to know. He said, come to my office. If you need anything, we'll help you out. And at some point I started doing this. He started calling me, hey, do you have a good framer? I'm building 4 houses. I need a framer. Do you have a good framer? Do you have a good security company? So basically he came to give, and now he's also getting some help from me, because then he asked me, how much did it cost to build that house? And I tell him, wow, you're building it cheaper than me. So don't shy from tapping into the American crowd also and other communities. And what was the last part? I think I zoned out on you. The last part of the question was a comment, or was it?
It was mainly, are there any other business ventures that you're kind of thinking about pivoting to right now? Like besides real estate, besides Domino?
Not really, but I'm open to doing something while being on the site and somebody else running it. I don't want to really go do it. So if I feel like I believe in a project someone has, I'll do the homework. If it's something I feel like it's worth the money and the time, I'll join in. But my way of doing this, I don't think I want to retire fully and sit at home and age rapidly. I don't want to do that. I want to always be busy. But by the same token, it's time to enjoy and try to run out of money before you die. That's in my case. Okay, so I'll turn 60 next year, and I want to start spending the money. I'll try to burn through it. It doesn't make sense. You spoil kids and leave them money. You create other Trumps.
No. شكرا والله على الاجابات كلها all made sense, and again thank you for your time today. وان شاء الله دعوتي اشوفك في هيوستن قريب باذن الله.
ان شاء الله.
ان شاء الله باذن الله. شكرا.
Fantastic. Communities Upwards. Are you able to unmute yourself? If not, drop the question and I can ask it for you. I think we have.
I was
okay,
able to unmute.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much for giving me the chance to speak. My name is Jamil Abdel Halim. I live in the Bay Area. Some of you here might know me. I know them. Thank you so much for this great presentation. It's very inspiring for sure. And I consider myself one of the people who also saw the American dream, first safety and then American dream when we came here. And my question and all the things you mentioned, the panelists mentioned are really on point, except for the last piece that you mentioned, Mr. Assisi, is about like you don't want to leave any money. I think that's one thing that we need to do here also, is not only leaving a legacy, but also create that generational wealth for our communities, and also working in the nonprofit and the philanthropic side of things, where we have organizations, nonprofit organizations that can carry messages and achieve goals to support both the Sudanese in the diaspora and also back home. So my question is, and I'm sorry if you answered this question before because I came late, is what are like some of the practical models or strategies that can help the Sudanese diaspora organize and collectively, you mentioned collectively a lot, collectively invest in real estate, launch businesses, build intergenerational wealth? And what advice would you give for creating trusted investment groups or cooperative that can allow ordinary families, not just wealthy individuals, to participate in achieving the American dream? I myself, I consider myself an entrepreneur, and I was able to buy my first house here in America after 2 years from coming here as an asylee. And then I started like also investing. I bought a house in Austin, I bought a house in Arizona, and I'm buying now in Oakland. So I believe that's possible. But if I had the advice and I had the opportunity to work collectively with people, it would have been easier and much more, I would have achieved much more than what I've achieved right now. So how can we do that to participate in achieving the American dream together? Because I don't see a lot of Sudanese working together to do that, like the other communities, because other communities do that, like they work collectively, they build their wealth, like the Chinese, like the Asian, all of them. Another question is like, how can we move from sending money to solve like immediate family needs back home? I'm sure a lot of us do that. To building like sustainable economic power that can benefit both our communities here in America or in the United States, and also like the future reconstruction of Sudan. I see I'm involved with a lot of Africans here who are involved in businesses in their countries, in the agriculture, in the sustainable, investment areas of field. I know Sudan is going through a lot of trouble right now, but these are my two questions. Thank you.
طيب, I'll start from the last one about Sudan. So SAPA, for example, when we started trying to put this together, we realized if we try to fix Sudan's problem from here, we will not make any progress. So the way to do it was لا سياسة لا عرق ولا دين. ولا دين دي طبعا الناس بيفهموها غلط. لا دين دي معناته بيفتكروا انتوا ملحدين ولا ابدا. احنا قلنا عشان ما نيجي نتشاكل في ايفنت صار سنة مع الصوفية ولا غيره. كل زول يعني يعمل حاجته بطريقته, so we can collectively help Sudan. كيف our goal was to make people believe in the American dream, that it's healthy and alive. Once that happened, we show you how to become successful in the US, because يعني ده مجتمع رأسمالي. You have to success is measured by money. Okay, once we get you to be stable, then you go help family and Sudan بطريقتك. لأنه if we try to do something collective, يعني as you know الناس مقسمة في موضوع السودان. دي كانت الفكرة. In the process, I'm proud of the fact that so many people are successful, not يعني because of SAPA بس, لكن because they came to us with ideas and they were afraid to execute. We were able to يعني help them. يعني there were so many mentors, going back to Muhammad and to Said. So many mentors. سالي العطا كان was there, Farid was there, سمر العطا, مجموعة من الشباب, محمد عمر, ناس كانوا بيكرسوا وقتهم إنه يساعدوا الناس to achieve their dreams. So this is the best way to approach it. لأنه I think مشكلتنا إحنا كسودانيين ما بنتفق على حاجة واحدة. دائما إحنا بنتقسم لأسباب ذكرتها دي, بتقسمنا وبعد ذلك بنقول شنو we become يعني ما productive. بالنسبة للبداية, what I mean is you have عندك أولادك مثلا. أنت أولادك دي لو there's two ways, two schools of thought, right? You can build them and you can build for them. Okay, if you build for them, that's a recipe for failure. لأنه I've seen it happen a lot of times. You see الأب والأم راكبين الكورولا والكامري, والأولاد ما لهم علاقة بالشيء اللي بيعملوا فيه لها الليل, including البزنس. later on بيجيك الولد سايق اللامبورجيني، تلاقي الولد سايق اللامبورجيني مسك القروش بعد شويه الويلث built by الاميجرانتس الاثنين ديل after they die the wealth is gone. So the best way to do is build them. Build for your, don't build for them, build them. So the way I do it is at the age of 16 you gotta get off the couch and go find a job, right? الأربعة أولادي الأربعة شغالين. البنت الكبيرة اتخرجت. She's working for a bank now, finance degree, working for a bank. Also Farid gave her the opportunity to build her CV and she works for Unitag with Farid. It took a lot of correction to say Farid, not عمو Farid at work, he's Farid مع عمو Farid. So that's that. الأخوان شغالين كلهم، كل واحد شغال. الفكرة إنه finish college, come up with your dream. Okay, لو أنت عندك dream, I'll finance the dream. Okay, as your partner. Once you are ready to fly solo, okay, I'm out. كويس. If you're lucky, I die and you keep my part and then give your brothers the money. But if I'm still there, I'm buying. You buy me out, you pay me, I'm out. بعد that each one of them can do. يعني أنا ما دايرهم يبقوا كلهم مثلا يشتغلوا construction ولا pizza. كل واحد يجيب الدريم بتاعه. أنت you put them through college and you get them to get used to work at an early age and everyone gotta go do the thing. لكن أنت you help them instead of going to have struggles with the bank financing them. I can ink it, I can sign and I can support them with the down payment to start that. For example, I have one that wants to be a civil engineer. I can help him get his firm going if he wants to do that. His brother wants to be a mechanical engineer. They can do something together. Or even if each one of them wants to build something separately, I am willing to get them to use my network of banker, CPA, attorney to help them build that, right? So that's the idea. It's not meaning I don't want to leave wealth behind that way. No, I think I work hard for it. I need to secure them, but then the rest of it need to be spent. Have fun. Learned this from a good friend of mine. He used to say, we work hard, but we play harder. So if الحكاية بقت كلها شغل, at some point you burn out and you're gonna become less productive and less productive, and then you're gonna fail. So that was the idea. As organizations, I think the best thing to do is to follow the SAPA model, is to get the Sudanese American in the US to become less, to become يعني عندنا مجموعة كبيرة underemployed. It's fixed right now almost. Like I said in the beginning, progress is made. The scene used to be like this: a medical doctor was experienced من السودان واكسبيرينس from السعودية ولا الإمارات، تلقاه سايق كان تاكسي زمان، لأنه في التاكسي بيعمل له $9,000 في الشهر. And in his mind he has بيقول لك عبرتها بعمل له $9,000 سايق تاكسي كويس. So I think this is being fixed now. I think people have, after we talked about it so many times for years now, for decades. كنت دايما I used to attack doctors in conferences. Why is every hospital full of Nigerian doctors? Why is every lab full of Filipinos, for example, right? ليه احنا we don't bring in our own to why don't we take a chance on our fellow Sudanese to bring them and get them jobs, right? So I think this is getting better, but to try to approach it a different way, it's going to be very difficult. لأنه احنا كسودانيين شوية بنختلف من باقي الناس they learn this coming from home. الحاجة دي حاصلة عندهم هناك. فنحن we're learning a teamwork يعني at an older age community wise. I think to approach it the SAPA way, the SAPS way is the best way to do it. If I miss something, you can add it. Maybe I forgot.
Well, I did love this question. I think it's very important and it sits at the core of what, as you said, SAPS is doing and these other organizations are doing. I think the answer to your question, I want everybody to take it at heart and to see how we can come together as a community to be stronger together. Farid, you might have something to say about this as well before you ask your question.
Yeah, it's actually, thank you, Muhammad. And by the way, kudos to you and SAPS for doing what you guys are doing. Absolutely important and continuous success, and we'll definitely work together in the future. I wanted to comment, it's not a really question, a couple of comments. Sadiq, obviously, and Kafa has done a great job answering all of the questions. I think Muhammad, the brother earlier, asked, how do you know if you're ready? I wanted to just comment on that. I assume that you're early in your career. So as Sadiq showed us that you need to develop or follow a system, and so gain experience in something uh, that's very important, so that you can, when you're ready to go on your own, you have the experience, you have and the confidence. And then another important thing, make sure that you're ready financially, especially credit wise. Credit is going to be an important asset for you as you start to branch on your own. So always treat your credit as one of the most valuable assets you have as a young person. So that's just a piece of advice. And to the sister who asked the last question, um, totally agree with you. We need to do more. We need to do more of working together. But I think earlier Sadiq said something about like-minded people. So always try to find like-minded people, because we've had experiences of people who try to do stuff together. They're not like-minded, and that ends up in failure. So just because we come from the same country back home doesn't mean that we're like-minded. So always look for people who are like-minded. Life is too short to be arguing about useless stuff. So try to find people who are like-minded. And the good news is that we are doing that. So here in Houston, we have a good group. We're working together and we're building stuff together. So it can be done, but we need to just really plan it well and make sure that we are all on the same page, we're like-minded, so that we don't waste our time on useless things that waste people. And and we know what are useless things that Sudanese people get to argue about. So just stay focused on having people who are all ready to really build and tackle problems together, and we can do it. We've proven that because we're doing that here in Houston. Just a couple of comments that I wanted to share with you. Success to you, Saps, and we'll definitely talk again.
Good comment, Farid. Just to piggyback on that. So the Houston story, we had detractors. Okay, they tried to stop every effort to have a functioning Jalia, to help people, to help the kids be together and not lose our identity and yani, suffer the problems of America. So we after so many tries, we pushed and we went along, and now so many of those doubters are joined, and some just kind of yani, shrunk in a corner and left the scene. They're not yani, interfering, and no, they're exposed. No one is listening to that. So I think that the moral story is يعني same-minded people like Farid said, لكن keep pushing. الناس will always talk. إذا كويسة الحاجة كويسة بيطلعوا لها حاجة كعبة. لو الحاجة كعبة خلاص أنت جيتهم في الحتة اللي هم دايرين تكون فيها. فشنو keep pushing ما تشتغل بالناس. Good point يا فريد لمحمد. Your credit, your background, CBC, okay, need to be clean. بعدين the reason I say it because when I was young, back in the day in Sudan, we didn't even know what's legal, what's not legal. We did crazy stuff and we got away with it. So keep the criminal background check good. Your motor vehicle need to be clear, no tickets, not unpaid tickets. Your credit score, and knowing how to use your credit cards and stuff like that. But then also, I have came up with a savings calculator. I did it myself, and that's where it's been with me for years now. When I was trying to gather money to start my business, so I did a spreadsheet. On the top left, income, right? Main job number one, and then additional income, and it totals. And then in the middle of the page, every penny I spent, all the bills, all the expenses are lined up. And in the bottom, they subtract from me how much I'm saving right now. And then I told it told the cell to turn green if I'm saving more than 20% of my income, and red if it's below 20. You can tweak the percentage to your liking. And then below that, there's a cell that says this many years. Basically says at this, you put $100,000, and the cell below it will say at this rate of savings to save $100,000 is going to be 7-8 years, right? So you tweak and play with the numbers. I'm happy to share this. Muhammad, you can share with the group. I know there are apps that do this, but trust me, when you build a spreadsheet yourself, it becomes yours. You kind of own it, and you kind of use it to make sure that your money is accounted for. So that's another way to make sure that you are saving your money the right way.
Amazing. Thank you for the advice. There is a question from Mustafa on the chat. Thank you for sharing your story and experience. I was wondering, what are the best ways to look for mentors, coaches, and how would we get in touch with you personally, as an aspiring entrepreneur and professionals, aspiring entrepreneurs and professionals? And what are some of the advice you have with regard to building these relationships, especially in the workplace or larger social environments?
All right. So first was the mentors. Where to find them? We went over this earlier. Basically, you're in the right place, Sabs. Just got you one, got you two, got you. Sabs got you Farid and I. My contacts are out there. I'm not hiding from no one. So Muhammad can share my number. Write me first. Lano, I don't answer numbers I don't know. You know now these days spam, like you get like 80 calls a day. So just text me like Muhammad did, by the way. Muhammad texted me in the beginning and through WhatsApp, and I responded, and that's how you found me. You can do the same thing. But finding other mentors. You found me now. We have a connection. We're a part of a network now. Lakin, I'm gonna share a story with you, and it should summarize that. There was a group. I was mentoring one of them. And their idea was to start a trucking company. I think it was 5 ladies. So the one I was mentoring, and she was basically leading it, would call me like about 5 p.m. ish, 5 p.m. my time, 4 p.m. my time, and we will start going through the stuff. I'll give her advice, and then next time she calls me, we go over the same stuff. After doing it like for 3-4 times, I asked the lady. I said, "Hey, are you writing these things down?" And she said, "No, not really, because usually I call you when I'm driving. I'm stuck in traffic for 2 hours, so I call you while I'm driving home from work." So I muted the phone because I was gonna go off. Like, I'm taking this seriously. I'll make sure that I stop. I make sure I have a laptop or something where I can answer and give her the advice. So don't waste people time when you seek mentors and coaches. Schedule it, okay, and come ready with questions. My best mentee was a kid from University of Houston, Bauer School of Business. The kid, I went to deliver a speech there one time at the school. They have a program called Dinner with the CEO. So Domino's Pizza connected me to go speak. There was oil and gas CEOs, other big names in the room. I was the pizza guy. So I went there and talked. And then after I was done, everybody ran to me asking me for mentoring. Why? Because to them, this was a real deal. This guy came from nothing and he made it. These guys are rich millionaires talking about trying to hire them, basically. So the kid will, Saad is his name, will reach out. Hey, when is a good time? I'll tell him a good time. He said, "I need 2 hours." Good. We have the 2 hours. He will come personally meet me. He will come ready with questions. He will come ready with questions, and at the end of it, he will ask me, "What did you read recently?" Okay, and I ran out of things I read. So basically, he said, I started telling him, "I really have this book, but I haven't had the time to read it or listen to it." Then on the next session, he will give me a summary of the book. I read it, and here's a summary, right? Very well organized. I felt like when he was done, I wanted to talk to him more because the kid was very excited, organized. He even helped me research things for college for my kids because he's a bit older than my kids back then. And I was so happy to hear that he took his mother's catering business. His mother transformed the garage in their house to a kitchen, and she was catering for their community's weddings. He opened the restaurant and he made the back of it. He set it up to be able to cook for events. And mom took over that operation with help of other people. She come only for big events. They had people working. By the time he got to number 2 and number 3, I was very proud that this kid was serious. He didn't waste my time. So easy to find them, but don't waste their time. Come prepared, okay? Always come prepared with your questions. Don't shy asking the questions. Again, don't shy away from tapping into the American crowd. They're ready. They're willing to help you. Don't look at, say, and tell this person, say this person is really famous, he's not going to talk to me. Farid and I had a very good story to tell about one of SAPA's gatherings where we invited Amy Chua to come and speak. I was reading her book in a plane going to a SAPA deal, and I emailed her from the plane. I said, hey, listen, you're so wrong about the Sudanese community. We're even worse than what you're thinking. And she responded via email, and when I didn't get the email bounce back, she printed the email and put it in an envelope and mailed it to me because my address was on the signature line. And she offered to come and talk on the next, it was a New York event that she came and spoke, free of charge. Amy charges, I think back then she was charging like $25,000 to speak an hour. She's connected with all these famous people. Friends are Hillary Clinton and all these people. She came and spoke at SAPA's event in New York. So these big names are not to be tapped. Always, you're not gonna lose anything. Reach out and you'll get someone. But again, don't waste their time. When you go talk to them, be prepared.
Thank you. That's an advice for all of us to use. Jamila, I think you had, we'll take that as the last question, and then we'll conclude. I did have a question myself, let's, Jamila, I think you're next.
Hello, thank you for giving me another opportunity. I appreciate it. I think you just, the speaker touched a little bit on answering my question about how we can work collectively. And I still think that this is the main problem with with the Sudanese American people and Sudanese communities in general, is like how to work together, because we have a lot of examples of successful people and entrepreneurs and all of this, but working collectively is the issue for us, and you said about the communities and what's happening in them and the disenfranchising and that's happening and all of that. But my thing is like, we let the Sudanese communities be Sudanese communities for, having fun and having events and playing kushtena and doing all the things that they want to do. But we can also do things collectively as groups, because you cannot agree with everybody around, the things that you want to do. And also, like, in Africa, like we, as Black people, as people coming from Africa, many communities also, have relied on the collective saving and investment systems, such like بنقول عليه احنا بنقول على الصندوق في السودان الخطة، بنقول على الافريكان السوسو والهاكبادز والجمعيات والحاجات زي دي اللي هي بيكون فيها members pooling money and taking turns accessing the capital to buy homes, start businesses, or support one another. We have now an example of doing this here in America, where like I'm very involved in helping women in my community and across America actually, is like with people struggling with credit card debt. We figured out that having a sanduk or a khatta kida among trusted group of people and giving, like, if somebody's struggling with a $10,000 debt, we can have like quickly, like whip a sanduk sari for them, and then they can pay the debt, and then because the interest keeps compiling and all of this. I think these are some examples of how people can work together, but of course it requires that you work with people that you can trust and work with. So these models like are definitely built on trust and like shared responsibility and community wealth rather than individual accumulations. So my question again, how can these traditional African models of collective investing inspire innovative approaches here in America, particularly for immigrant communities, to invest together, especially in real estate, entrepreneurships, and other wealth building opportunities, while at the same time complying with like the U.S. laws, financial regulations? Could these time-tested practices become a modern pathway to achieving the American dream collectively rather than individually? I mean, like I do my things and I'm successful in it and everything, but I always feel like I need to work with my community at the same time. So we really need to focus on this and how can we come with like a playbook or some plan of how we can work collectively, even like at small clusters, and then we build on it into bigger, like projects and achievements. Thank you.
آه I think جميلة إجابة فريد قبل هي الحل الأمثل للمشكلة دي، اللي هو إنه يعني ما ممكن، يعني مثلا مرة جيت في سيشن عملناه لجروب عاوزين يشتغلوا ريال استيت مع بعض، كويس. فقاموا كانوا 205 تقريبا في الجروب. الجماعة دي اللي شكلوا قبل ما نعمل أي حاجة
That's a
يعني.
big number.
اتس ا بيج نمبر. ففريد قال لك يعني الناس اللي بيكون افكارهم واحده اهم حاجه في القصه دي.
Like-minded, yes, of course.
like minded people،
Mm,
كويس.
mm.
like minded people يعني we can start seeing at least successes happen in groups of 5 10 Sudanese versus now the success is happening as one successful doctor, one successful businessman, one successful. So if we
Mhm.
maybe the next plateau will be now we have small groups working together. Maybe later on we'll be able to get the number to be bigger. آه، السؤال المفروض تسأل لنفسك شنو اللي قاعد يفرقنا نحن، كويس. الحاجات اللي قاعد تفرقنا وتخلينا نتشاكل شنو، كويس. ده السؤال اللي عاوز اجابه، كويس. السؤال اللي بعديه، وهل انا ممكن القى ناس يتفقوا يشيلوا الحاجات دي برا عشان يشتغلوا مع بعض ولا ما بقدر؟ لو لقيت الناس بيقدروا يشيلوها برا متفقين ويشتغلوا سوا، يبقى انت لقيت شنو الناس بيفكروا زي بعض، كويس كده. دي الخطوه الثانيه. لكن سابقا احنا كنا نشيل السياسه العرق والدين شلناهم برا، لانه ديل سبب انه اولادنا بيجوا ما بيجوا المناسبات حتى لما تعمل شغل بتاع جاليه، كويس. ما بيجوا لانه بيجوا يلقوا اعمامهم بيشاكلوا، وفي ناس بتتضارب مرات بتحصل حد الضرب يعني، ويجي البوليس وناس تجيب الاف بي اي لناس فشنو لما تشيل السبب المشاكل دي وتلقى ناس متفقه انها تقعد بدون الحاجات دي اللي يمشي يمارسوها برا النطاق بتاع الجاليه او الجروب او المجموعه، بتبقى امورك ماشيه بعد ذاك، بتقدر انت تكوني مور برودكتيف، كويس. جاليتنا في هيوستن مثلا حاسه شغاله نفس الشغل بتاع سابس. نحن بنعمل سيشنز، جبنا اخر سيشن تخليه كان عن الاي اي، قباله كان عن الهيستوري في السودان. فحتى وي بروفايدنج الشباب بالحاجات اللي حاسه انتم شغالين عليها هنا في سابس. فبقت الجاليه ذاتها شنو يعني، الجاليه الرقميه الاولى في امريكا. رقم اثنين we are doing more sessions thanks to the COVID era. We learn how to يعني leverage الزوم والتيمز عشان نقدر نكون يعني ما بس تلمنا العيد وتلمنا حفله مثلا او رحله، كويس. فلكن if you single out الحاجات دي صحيتها برا من الرصه، امورك بتمشي ما بكون في اشكاليه. لكن اللي بيضيع وقتنا لما نقعد نتشاكل عشان بس نبدا، فده ضيع وقت. لو لقيت 5 انفار متفقين يبدوا جو وذ ات، ما تضيع وقتك. يعني انت قلت احنا we're part of the African community. انا identify as African، لكن let's try to convince باقي الناس انه نحن African. دي شكلها جاهزه، كويس. نحن نص البلد بيقول لك نحن ما عارف نحن يعني ما نخش في الحته دي، انا حافتح الموضوع ذات المفروض نتفاداه يعني، كويس. فما تخش في الايدنتيتي، ما تخش يعني لا سياسه لا عرق لا دين، والداير يمشي اللي قدام يجينا، الما داير ده ياكل ناره، يا في القدام اللي قدام جاكم، يا في الاخر قام قال شنو يا اخي انا ما داير، كويس. لكن في حاجه نسيناها مهمه جدا يا محمد، احنا عندنا مشكله كبيره. الناس اللي قاعده في امريكا دي they think they are مغترب. انت ما مغترب في امريكا، انت مهاجر،
مهاجر.
كويس. get this out of your head. المغترب ده بيمشي ابو ظبي، بيمشي السعوديه، بيمشي ليبيا، اليمن، ده مغترب، كويس. امريكا دي ما بتديك لو ما انت بقيت جزء منها. you have to assimilate fully assimilate to earn the benefits يعني المتاحه لك. as long as you live as a مغترب in America، كويس، you're not gonna make it، كويس. المغترب ده بيشتغل بيرسل السودان، كويس. it doesn't work here. اي نعم احنا قاعدين نرسل اي حاجه، لكن يعني المفروض تظبط نفسك هنا عشان اللي قدام تقدر تساعد اهلك وبلدك. النظريه بتاعت انت قاعد في حته وبس وكل اللي بتعمله بترسله ده it's not gonna work. يعني you can work as hard as you want but if الريسورسز دي ماشيه. انا مسك محمد مثلا، محمد صغير جدا في السن من صوته من الكومنت بتاعه. imagine محمد is sending all that he makes back home and he's just keeping enough to sustain himself in the US. He will never have the savings to start a business في أمريكا. طيب is it to the benefit of his family back home to be successful هنا، ولا يكون هو ذاته قاعد هنا يعني living check to check؟ honest conversation need to be had in front of a mirror to decide what are we مغترب ولا مهاجر.
Fantastic. So thank you, Sadiq. I have a question. We'll go back to the business. Um, so I'm a professional. I think in my professional life, I've jumped a few jobs, and I've seen the benefit of having breadth. different jobs, different companies, different teams, different projects. But I think there's a good value into having depth. And this is what you've done, right? You stayed the course, you started, with Domino's Pizza from delivery driver to now having this number of stores, mashallah. So that's where you gained expertise, that's how you gained expertise in operation, investment, all of that. So but sometimes if you're in a business, I think you might hit not a rock bottom, like there's a point where you should pivot to something else. You should sell that business, start a new business. How do you know when it's a good time to pivot? And if the business you started was something that you actually something you knew, something you had some knowledge about, and ended up not working out, but you want to invest, you want to move to a new business. How can you pick a new business if you don't have any knowledge or expertise or background?
طيب, being a pilot, you have to stay a step ahead of the plane. Okay, يعني انت لازم تكون جاهز the next action that you have to take. I think this helped a lot, يعني redundancy. So if you wait till something collapses to start thinking of what's my plan B, then it's too late, right? So what helped is basically knowing something I did for others, yani for a long time. I had that comfort. Even when Domino's Pizza was struggling, I was in markets where nobody wanted to be. Okay, tough neighborhoods, economy rock bottom. But these areas helped sustain the other stores where people didn't have the money. So when people who had good jobs and lived in affluent neighborhoods were broke because of the economy, I had hood stores that carried the weight because of government checks and all of that stuff. So it was a mixed bag. So that helped sustain the deal, right? So I had the comfort of really and truly being able to be a good quarterback, throw in a good pass. I had coverage, right? So, but I always thought about the worst. I remember laying down when I was a brand new business owner at night, and I run the tape. What if this person quits? Am I going to be really shutting down a store because I don't have a manager? All right, my plan B is this. Always have that when you're doing good. Always, if you want to go borrow money from a bank, go borrow money when you have money. Banks don't give money to broke people, right? Same thing with your thoughts. You can't wait till stuff happens for you to go plan that next business, right? So that's where I decided, you know what, to go the Ahfaz Malik route, have some rental properties, right? At least while I have money, let me pay off fast so I can really and truly if I have to be without my business, the income is coming and I don't have to pay a mortgage on them. So I had two fourplexes, so 8 units total. Sold those and then now upgraded what I have, right? But those were lingering in the background for a long time, meaning they are there just in case, right? I'm not going to be homeless. I can even move into one of them. God forbids I have to lose that. So don't wait till people get fooled by the fact that I'm doing very good. And then reality happens quickly, and then they want to now pivot, and it's just throwing a pass under pressure. You can't do that. So stay ahead. I think also, diversity is good, right? So with what you do, you need to have a couple things in playing in the background. Find things you can do through mentors and coaches that are capable of paying your bills and making you live at the same level that you're living with your good job, right? It doesn't have to be rental properties. It could be something else. In the past, I tried the trucking business. I had 10 trucks, 10, 18 wheelers running. That was a good deal until also the economy got in the middle and I decided to sell them to the drivers, right? So I always had something. Plan B was always running, right? So, but again, when you are a business owner, you took chance for the first time. Believe me, taking chance is never going to be not going to be scary anymore. Right now, I'm willing to test something. I'll do my homework, right? Kind of like when I advise Muhammad, do your homework, and then 70% convince, do it. So taking risk again is not going to be scary, right? Most people don't succeed because they're not taking risk. But once you had taken risk and you succeeded, then there's no stopping to you. So my connections, the connections I have, there are so many people that will be willing now to partner and do something with me. Like if I feel like I'm selling these stores, but I'm in trouble, I have people to call and say, listen, I can do this for you, right? The knowledge and the expertise you gain as a business owner while doing it will still give you the opportunity to be hired by someone that you know until you figure out the next move. You don't have to like really pivot under pressure. You need to really truly be ahead of the game.
Okay. Thank you,
Muhammad,
Sadiq. Thank you very much.
Salam Muhammad. I have a quick comment, if you don't mind.
Yeah, please.
Salam alaikum, Sadiq. أنا اسمي محمد الطاهر. I'm in the aviation world, and I think your example يعني resonates a lot, and it's making a lot of sense now. It's staying at redundancy in the systems و staying ahead. لكن I think برضو انت عندك حاجة just listening to all of this. I think you have an aperture. الaperture بتاعك فاتح انت. What decision making بتاعك now you're at a place where you're very comfortable taking tough decisions. لكن at the same time you're very comfortable letting go of making the what we can say يعني not the toughest decisions. How do you build يعني that gut feel, how do you build يعني الحاجة دي بتمرينا كيف ال decision making ال tough decision making. I mean because it's maybe ممكن نرجع للستوري بتاعتك وmaybe ممكن نقول it was 3-4 biggest decisions عملتها انت in your life. How do you get ready when to be able to take a decision and to be able to take that risk? كيف
طيب
تنبي الحاجة دي؟
I think بتربيها بالاكسبيرينس. I think the difference between يعني people who are يعني experienced is they can make that the homework. They can do the homework faster, right? Because in the business world, sometimes you snooze, you lose. So basically, in our case, sometimes let's use a piece of land that you want to buy to build something on. A lot of times, if you take forever to make your decision, you lose it. So basically, you have to be able to make that calculation faster than others. And with experience, yes, you can do it. So me, for example, there were stores I purchased, I overpaid by $50,000. 2 stores I bought them, and everybody was telling me, you're overpaying by $50,000. So I purchased those stores. Then I overpaid again by $70-some thousand, and they were laughing at me. One day they asked me the question in a meeting, why do you keep overpaying for stores? I said, hey, listen, if I bought the stores for $50,000 more, the question you should ask yourself, how long will the stores make me $50,000? So let's say I paid $50,000 more. I will consider myself, you haven't bought that business until I make $50,000. So imagine يعني I overpaid by $50,000. بعتبر انه قروشي دي قاعده في البنك ما اشتريت بيها حاجه قاعده في البنك. I didn't use it for nothing, right? ف بعد after $50,000, oh, I'm in business now, right? Versus losing that opportunity where somebody else comes and say, nah, nickel and diamond, hey, this is 50,000 overpriced. What would you do with القروش قاعد عندك نص مليون قاعد في البنك doing nothing, right? So consider sitting at the bank doing nothing for a couple months. By the time you earn the $50,000, now you are making money. So experience will help you make those decisions faster, number one. But the second advice, let's not be ما نكون عبيد للقروش. يعني انت لو if you become a slave to your money انت بتكون عندك مشكلة. You will never swing that back, right? That doesn't mean also don't do your homework and just go throw money away because you'll be out of business fast. After you do your homework, if you fail or if it doesn't work the way you want to do it, don't let that make you change your style and say, you know what, I'm from here, I'm not doing this. Toba, I'm not doing this anymore. Balance الحاجتين ديل and you will be there. So sometimes I catch myself slowing down. It's not because يعني I don't want more. It's because I think I sacrificed to turn يعني a table around. يعني I didn't want my kids and my family to not have يعني الحاجات اللي أنا didn't have it when I was growing up, right? So I wanted to give them more. So in the process, you abandon your family sometimes. So now is the time to spend time. But guess what? The problem with that is now they have no time for you. Now they have their own lives. So balance is very important. Balance, it might look يعني from outside in Zolda, either he's very comfortable or he's given up. No, it's personal balance in life that you have to make up for the sacrifices that took place before.
Agreed. Thank you. Thank you so much. Shukran.
That's Muhammad.
All right, we'll have to end it now. We're at time. Thank you, Asadiq, for staying half an hour more. Thank you, everybody, for staying longer. Thank you for joining. As I expected, a wealth of knowledge and expertise, and a willingness to share. Yani, this is a level of transparency I think not a lot of people are able to get to and share that information unless you're really genuine and you're caring about people also succeeding. So I really, really appreciate it, Sadiq. Thank you, Farid, for chiming in for some of the answers and for all of the folks who asked the questions. We'll see if we can get a Sadiq back. Farid, for sure, we'll have to get you in a session. And we look forward to more collaboration. Inshallah, be on the lookout for our announcement for the in-person event that we're gonna have later this summer. Thank you again, and have a good weekend, everybody. Assalamu alaikum.
Salam alaikum.
Sadiq,
Assalamu.
Farid, if you guys could stay like